Face Off continues in 35 minutes on BBC One after the news.
And good morning and welcome to BBC Six Music with me, Phil Jupitus, and your breakfast show. I was thinking on the way in.
And from 10 you can hear the best live music, old and new, on the Dream Ticket. BBC Six Music, DAB digital radio, online and Freeview, channel 77.
This is BBC One in the Northwest. Now at 10 o'clock, the news with Fiona Bruce and Carol Lowe.
The verdict on the September the 11th attacks. Successive US governments failed to appreciate the danger of Al-Qaeda. An independent commission says institutional failings meant opportunities to stop the hijackers were missed.
This was a failure of policy, management, capability, and above all, a failure of imagination.
And new details emerge of the last desperate minutes on board the hijacked planes. Also tonight, around 140 are feared dead in a train crash in Turkey. Back in from the cold, Peter Mandelson said to be Britain's European Commissioner. And the Yorkshire double murders. Mark Hobson's mother appeals for him to turn himself in.
Here in the Northwest, thumbs down for a Northwest Assembly. The devolution referendum is cancelled. And the mother of a teenager shot dead pleads for help in catching his killer.
Good evening. The American people were left unprotected from terrorists by successive governments. That's the verdict of the US Commission set up to investigate the September the 11th attacks. It blames what it calls deep institutional failings, which meant that US administrations didn't prepare for what happened, despite clear warnings. It doesn't blame individuals, but states that every senior government figure in the years before September 2001 bears some responsibility for what happened. The Commission says there was a failure to grasp the gravity of the threat posed by Al-Qaeda, and intelligence agencies didn't share information about the hijackers. But it says there was no link between the terrorists and Iraq. The report recommends the creation of a new National Counter-Terrorism Centre and a new National Intelligence Director. Here's our Washington correspondent, Matt Fry.
Good morning, AM New York. Thank you, sir.
The call to normality in Lower Manhattan. Everything looks as it should be, but no one can forget what lies behind the fence. Ground Zero. The rebuilding has begun, but this cavity is still an open wound for America, into which today's report pours its share of salt. For those who stop to look, and for everyone else, the questions have, if anything, become more acute. Could this have been prevented? Were opportunities missed? Yes is the painful answer. These pages, and there are more than 500 of them, are the result of 2 years of investigation and interviews with over 1,000 witnesses. There has perhaps never been such a forensic glimpse into the entrails of government, and in front of the families of the victims, a damning set of conclusions, presented today by the chairman of the commission, a Republican.
We were unprepared. We did not grasp the magnitude of a threat that had been gathering over a considerable period of time. As we detail in our report, this was a failure of policy, management, capability, and above all, a failure of imagination. None of the measures adopted by the United States government before 9/11 disturbed or even delayed the progress of the Al-Qaeda plot.
Missed opportunities, 10 of them under both George Bush and Bill Clinton, and this one on the day itself. The security video shows 5 of the hijackers being screened at Washington's Dulles Airport. The man in the blue shirt is Nawaf al-Hazmi. He's just set off the metal detector and is searched again. and then allowed to board the plane. Hazmi and this man, Khalid Al-Minda, were both put on a terrorist watch list only a week before, but airport security never got the list. Less than an hour later, the hijackers had flown American Flight 77 into the Pentagon.
It just collapsed. We don't know who is inside.
9/11 was terrible, but is worse still to come.
Every expert with whom we spoke told us that an attack of even greater magnitude is now possible and even probable.
And time is running out, so the Commission recommends a fundamental overhaul of intelligence, including one cabinet post to oversee all of America's battling agencies. Even the relatives are more concerned about the future than the past.
Time is of the essence. We don't want to wait for another attack to happen until we get these recommendations implemented. We want to do it now so that we can save those lives.
If there were an attack tomorrow, it's not clear who's in charge, who has the ability to inform the public, who has the ability to respond.
From the President, who never wanted this commission in the first place, a benign reaction.
They recognized, what I recognize and American recognizes, that there's still a threat, and that we in government have an obligation to do everything in our power to safeguard the American people.
So George Bush now has his own copy of the report.
Thank you.
It will make for some very uncomfortable reading. And there's one question that hangs all over this 4 months before the elections. What impact would another 9/11 have on the result? Matt Fry, BBC News, Washington.
The report reveals new details of the ease with which the hijackers seized control of the planes and the desperate final minutes before they crashed.
Scotland, England and Wales, a very pleasant day, dry, spells of sunshine, probably the best of the sunshine around the coast. For much of Scotland, certainly north and west of Scotland, northern parts of Northern Ireland, it's a case of mixture of sunshine and showers, and quite breezy too, so I feel that it may well feel a little bit on the cool side in that part of the country, but warm again in the south, but not as humid as it was today, but 25's going some nevertheless. And for the test match, it does look ideal, fine and warm if you're going to watch. Over the weekend, a little bit of a hint perhaps of some spots of rain coming into Manchester, otherwise England and Wales remains fine and dry, whereas Scotland and Northern Ireland are somewhat less settled. So let's have a more detailed look at it, I think, for Saturday. There'll be a weather system moving south through Scotland. That'll bring, first of all, some bands of rain, followed in turn by somewhat brighter weather with some showers. But England and Wales, another fine, warm, dry day. Best of the sunshine again, I think, in southern areas, and the temperature touching 24 degrees or so. A little bit of a question mark perhaps over some parts on Sunday, because there will be a sort of weather system draped through central areas, producing rather more in the way of cloud and perhaps a little bit of rain. North of it, it's bright enough, and the best of the sunshine probably in that southwestern half of England. But by the time we move into Monday, more or less much of the country back with fine warm weather, which should last into next week. A very good evening to you.
The Olympic Games coming soon to the BBC. Legends will be rewritten.
The countdown starts now. A chair hotter than any kitchen. Brassed off if he doesn't win. No East End welcome if he loses. A sound scarier than any jungle.
Started, so I shall finish.
Who said celebrities don't use their brains? Celebrity Mastermind. Tomorrow at 9 on BBC One.
Andrew Neil rounds up This Week in Politics at 11:50. First on BBC One, the action continues with John Travolta and Nicolas Cage. There's violence and strong language in the concluding part of Face Off.